Hello, my name is Laura Matlock, and I am the Senior Program Manager for the TSET Healthy Incentive Grant Program. Today, we're going to talk about the updates to the framework beginning in FY26. And before we do that, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of the Incentive Grant Program. This grant is a flagship program of TSET, and it's been around since 2012. Eligible applicants are Oklahoma incorporated municipalities, so that's cities and towns throughout the state. It does not include census designated places. And you can see in this map a place of where all the grants have been awarded in the history. So over a decade of award years, we have reached 159 different communities across the state. You can find your county and kind of find where you are and see if your community has been awarded or others nearby you. In this time, we have also awarded over $5 million in grant funds. Looking at this information, when I came into the position in 2021, we were really seeing a downward trend of applications. And so we decided to do a comprehensive case study in 2024. That case study really revealed some pertinent information to us from people across the state, those that had been awarded, those that had applied but not been awarded, and then also those that had never even heard of the program. So we did some surveys and interviews and got some really great feedback that helped propel the changes moving forward in FY26. Considering the new program framework, so the data was used, we put together some framework guidelines and took it to the TSET Board of Directors at the end of March. At that time, they approved the changes. Really, the major changes are focusing on streamlining the application process, aligning this incentive grant program with other future funding opportunities and grant programs. The two biggest things we got from the case study is that we really are looking to simplify the grant criteria requirements and increasing the funding award maximums. Ultimately, the criteria and the paperwork assigned and associated with it was taking a little bit of time, and the funding's amounts weren't very large. So we're really streamlining that process, and you'll get to see what that looks like in the next couple slides. Before we dive into the specific framework, funding, and criteria, I wanted to let you guys know that Salesforce is our new grants management platform. So you will be required to apply for any of TSET grant funds through this registration process. You'll have to go in and create a username and a password if you don't already have one. If you've already created that for another grant application, you just use that same login information. There's great directions. If you're not a member, you can just click that button. It'll give you step-by-step directions on how to create that information. The application for the incentive grants will not go live until October 24th through November 21st. So that'll be the first opportunity in the fall that you'll be able to apply. Then you'll get another opportunity in March of 2026 for the spring applications. The great thing about the Salesforce platform is that you're able to save progress. So once you log in, once the application goes live, you won't see it until the live date, but you will see it when it goes live. You can go on and answer the questions, insert the files or attachments, and save your progress. So if you have to take care of other business or come in and out over the time period of the application being open, you're able to do that. It also allows for file uploads as well as text responses to questions within the application. So previously, the application looked like filling in some contact information in text boxes, and at the bottom, you uploaded all of your files. Now you will upload your files where they align with the criteria throughout the application process. Also within this grants management platform, you will be required to submit your quarter and final reports through this login and password access. And you can find that information at the oktset.my.site.com, but it's also linked the funding portal on our main website. Related to the website updates, we will have additional resources launching in early July. There will be guidance documents, frequently asked questions, pre-recorded audio and video tools. All of these will come out when our fiscal year calendar turns the page July 1st of 2025, which we plan to launch these things shortly after that, if not right around the 1st of July. Now, related to the level of award for the grant program, there will be only one category level of award. Previously, we had a bronze, a silver, and a gold category. That's no more. So there will just be one singular level to replace those. The criteria requirements for the incentive funds, and I keep reiterating incentive funds because these funds are awarded to applicants that have done certain things that we've outlined to help improve the health and wellness of your citizens and your employees and your community at large, as well as put into place some things that really help to propel community engagement and sustainability over time. There is no match required for this grant, and there is no reimbursement requirement. So the funds are awarded upfront as an incentive to the criteria being met. So that's what we're looking at for this specific grant. The project-based award amount is required in the new application process. You will have an identified up to maximum awards based on your city or town population. And then with that, there's a maximum amount request. You will be asked in the application to identify a project. And with that project, the funding request comes, as well as the project plan and specific timeline for when it will be awarded. So we'll talk about that a little bit more detailed later. So related to the award maximums, I mentioned we're increasing the maximum funds, but we're also removing the historical maximum caps. Previously, no matter what year you had been awarded, whether it's 2013 or 2022, once you hit a max funding amount, you were no longer eligible to receive grants from this particular grant from TSET. That max cap has been removed. Instead, now you'll be eligible to receive funds once every 3 fiscal years. So if you're awarded in FY26, then you will have to wait till FY29 to apply and receive funds through this particular program again. We are cleaning the slate from all the past grantee awards. So relating to that slide I showed towards the very beginning of the presentation, that slide is essentially being cleaned. And so we're starting all over. So all Oklahoma municipalities, irregardless of what you were awarded or where you were awarded previously, are eligible to apply in this new fiscal year. The incentive grants would only be eligible to receive funds from this program once every 3 fiscal years. So just to reiterate, it's not a one and done anymore. It's once every 3 years. And that's really to stay in line with our criteria updates. Previously, we've made updates every other year to the criteria to stay in line with best and promising practices, new law or regulations that align with the work that we do. So this continues to be in place. So you'll be eligible to meet criteria once every 3 years. So really what everybody wants to know is how much money can we get? So it's based on your community population and the latest census data. Anybody that's less than or equal to 4,299 in population is eligible for up to 60,000. Anyone greater than that with 4,300 or more is up to 100,000 in funds. So what are the criteria requirements? As an incentive grant, you must meet these criteria in order to get funded. And then during the application process, you will show us, or during the application, you will tell us how you've met these criteria. So the first one is about promoting Shape Your Future, and the second is about promoting the Oklahoma Tobacco Helpline. Both of these are free programs and services offered by funding from TSET. And the intention is that you are sharing these free resources out into your community and with your staff. So any type of documentation that shows that you're promoting these throughout the state, whether it be pictures that are of where you have these brochures or posters hanging at City Hall and community rooms, maybe even at the local senior nutrition program services, showing where these resources are being shared. You can post it on your website, you can send it in quarterly updates or emails, post it on your social media accounts. All of those things meet the criteria. So in the application, we're asking you to give us the information about what you're sharing and how you're sharing it, and then provide a few documentation of how that is being shared, whether it's a screen recording or screenshot or a picture. You will not need to submit documentation of everywhere these things are being shown throughout the city, but just a snippet and then a few statements of where or how you're sharing these resources across your service area. The third one is your workplace wellness initiative and or simplified policy. On the back end, we're still working out specifically what this criteria looks like. Definitely will involve having a worksite wellness committee or team for your city or town employees, and then as well as having some sort of simplified policy. We do have some models, and we will identify additional guidance, resources, and tools in early July. Two additional criteria requirements are looking at the tobacco-free city-owned property ordinance and the youth access to tobacco ordinance. These are two separate ordinances related to preventing and promoting the cessation of tobacco use. The first one is looking at city-owned property. It will have to be a comprehensive, meeting 100% of our criteria requirements, as well as be signed and dated. So we want to make sure it's a legitimate ordinance that's been passed by your city council or town governing boards. And then second, your youth access to tobacco ordinance. And that's really looking at youth access to product samples and sales related to youth under the age of 21. So that's a separate ordinance. Generally, it's got to be comprehensive, signed and dated as well. And we will provide some tools and resources around this particular criteria requirement in the future. Both of these will be in alignment with the criteria requirements at the silver level that was previous FY25. So none of this criteria is changing from the recent history of the years into moving into next fiscal year. As the criteria requirements related to the food retail environment, you will have to do kind of two things. One is provide a summary of the food retail environment in your community. That can include information on the availability of healthy food from farmers markets, community gardens, or food pantries. Essentially, you're telling us the story, you're telling us about your community, whether you have a lot of food opportunities in your area, or maybe it's more of a food desert and you need more opportunities. So you're essentially having a conversation with your city and community at large about the landscape as it relates to food. And then the second criteria requirement is that you have a resolution or an ordinance in the book, something that shows the city and the governing board has a support to provide or promote farmers markets, community gardens, or food pantries. This also needs to be signed and dated resolution or ordinance. Along those same lines, the community assessment of landscape as it relates to active living. So we're looking for here is that you provide a detailed description of the community and landscape as it relates to active living. This can include information that you have collected and analyzed and depicted in your community. So you can do a walking audit, you can do a bikeability audit, you can document that your community has had a focus group or discussion around what this active living opportunities look like for those in your area. Are they driving distances to use parks and recreational spaces, or are they available there in your community at large? For the second piece of that, we're looking at, again, how does the city or town support physical activity within your community? Could be a comprehensive master plan. It could be safe routes to school plan or grocery store, physical activity plan, complete streets. Any of these resources or tools that help show that the city is supportive of increasing active living opportunities, also signed and dated. So if you have a comprehensive master plan that's dated 2023, then that would count and qualify for this. Just to to kind of wrap up the conversation and cover us until more information comes in July, we do have the timeline laid out here for you. So for the incentive grants, more information will be posted on the website in early July. The application open periods will be in October through November, and those that apply or are awarded in that fall timeframe, they will go, they're applied for in the fall timeframe. They will go to the January board meeting for approval and award. You will receive notification of award or declination of award the day of or shortly after that board meeting. And then if you apply in March, the 2nd through the 30th, you will be taken to the May board meeting, May 2026. And then once you're awarded, you will be required to post signage about the funding related to TSET, as well as provide quarterly reports. And the quarterly reports are really looking at your project implementation and impact after the funds have been awarded, just to kind of keep in contact with us, any kind of changes in positions or any delays, or, in some cases, you may be asking for community garden materials, and those get set and delivered, and you're done within 3-4 months of the award. So you can go ahead and close out the award in advance of the 1-year reporting requirement. The final project has to take place and be completed within 1 year. So when you're submitting your project plan and your timeline, these dates of board meetings for the award notifications are important to consider. If you're awarded in January, the grant funds have to be spent and the project has to be completed before the next January. So this quarterly reports will just help us to identify and work with you to make sure we're on time and on task for the grant program. If you have any questions, please submit your questions through the HIG form on our website. And it says it's a questions form, and it's in linked through all the incentive grant program pages on tset.ok.gov. Thank you so much.